Hello everybody, and welcome to another in our PowerTeacher tips and tricks to making reports. So the first thing you need to do is get yourself logged in, and once that happens, your gradebook will open in the default, which is score sheet view. So if we do that, we can switch between our classes. We can see the assignments that have been assigned, and we can see the grades on those particular assignments. What we're going to do today is take advantage of the reports feature. By clicking into the reports tab, we're given several options. We can print attendance, we can look at category reports, final grades and comments. That's really good for checking your report cards prior to printing. But what we're going to take a look at is the individual student report. What this lets us do is create batched reports for every member of your class or all of your classes at one time. You can also select only a specific student. What we'll do first is we'll run just a standard report. So your options for output are PDF, HTML, which is the web page format, and CSV. The CSV option allows you to create an Excel file, which you can then open and manipulate, perform math on that, or run a mail merge or anything else that you might want to do with a database formatted report. We're going to stick with PDF for the moment. You have your options of collecting all of your classes or just a single class. For now, we're going to leave that at single. You can choose all of the enrolled students or make a selection of just a few. If we wanted to do that, we would have to come over here on the left side, click the caret to open up our active class, and then we would be able to scroll through and select one of those students, and then we'd be able to print a report only for that student. You can also create groups within this. So if you were tracking a specific group of 5 students, 6 students for maybe your SLO, you could create an SLO group and then only print reports for those students. If you were tracking maybe your ELL students separately from your English-speaking students, you could do that as well. Or you can just come in manually, and by using the control key, you can select multiple students and print reports only for those kids. So we're not going to do that. We're going to stick with printing for the entire class. Student name, student number, simply how we want them to be selected. Student name makes a lot of sense. Whether or not you want to include all of the grades and assignments and comments, I do in this case. And then for date range, there are preset ranges for the whole year, for each quarter, for exam 1, exam 2. You can also just print assignments from the last week, month, which can be helpful. So in this case, we're just going to go with quarter 3. We have no other further options to worry about in that case because I only want to print for quarter 3. So I'll allow it to run that report. You could open the report directly. I find it's easier and gives you more options if you save this report first. From there, we can then manipulate and even save these reports in an archive if we wish. So I'm just going to call this my period 7 report. I'm going to drop it right on my desktop, and I'm going to allow it to save. This usually takes a moment or two. We can see that period 7 report is on our desktop. If we open up that report, we can now see that it's printed for the 3rd quarter. That 3rd quarter report shows that this student has a B as their overall grade. It gives us the actual percentage. And if I had made any comments, it would have been shown there. So it shows each of the assignments, the category that that assignment was in. In this case, this is classwork. This was entered when I did my grade book setup. It has the name of the assignment. That's what I entered as the name of the particular activity. The total number of points that were awarded, the total number of points that were possible, that grade as a percent, and that grade as a letter. If I had entered an individual comment for that assignment, it would have shown up here under comment area. And so it continues on down the list, showing each of those individual assignments. Now at the bottom, we have a category summary. So it shows the 4 categories that these students are graded on. We have our lab in an alternate assessment category. Again, it shows the number of those assignments, total points earned in that category, the total points that were offered or possible in that category, how they did as a percent and as a letter. This, I find, if you point out to the students, can be quite a useful tool, because you can show them specifically where they're being successful and where they are losing points. So in the case of this particular student, they are losing their points in their quiz and test category, having a rough time with the tests and quizzes, but they're doing, so far, out of a limited number of assignments, well on everything else. If we were to scroll through, so here we see a student. This student has a comment. I take off a point if they do not put their name or period at the top of their paper. The student did not do that. In addition, I allow corrections on homework. The student submitted a correction, but that correction was still incomplete. And so comments are a place where you can leave those kinds of notes to yourself within the gradebook. Again, if we scroll down, we can see those categories. So now that we've created this PDF, we can now print it. The reason I like saving it to the desktop first is that the print dialog within Adobe Acrobat gives us several options that will allow us to create more paper-efficient reports. So if we go to File, Print, you can also shortcut key to that. We have the option here under Page Sizing and Handling to select Multiple. And if you choose that, we can now do 2 to a page. I find 4 to a page actually fits quite nicely, and is still plenty large enough for the students to read. As the quarter goes on and I have more and more assignments, the grade reports themselves will begin to take more than 1 page per student. What I can do then is specify under page order, horizontal, and what that would allow me to do is actually have the grade report print in page 1 and page 2 together horizontally across the top of the piece of paper. I then just use the handy dandy paper cutter that's right next to the copy machine, slice these pieces of paper in half, and I wind up having a 2-page report that only takes half a piece of paper. So that's how we would print reports for the entire class. If we return back to this report, we can also print one for an individual student. If we open up our active students, we can scroll to the student that we wish to print the report for, and all we need to do then is select the option for selected groups or students. I would then leave all of my settings the same. I can run my report. I'll just save over the one I already have. And if I open up that report, now instead of having 22 pages, I simply have 1. So that's the easiest way to hand out grade reports for an individual or class. The other report I find extremely useful is the missing assignment report. This assignment is directly underneath the individual student report. And what this allows you to do is print out a report with no grades, no numbers, essentially no judgment, but instead it simply lists the assignments that you have not yet marked as received. There are 2 options. Again, you can run them as unrecorded scores, so that's any empty score in your gradebook, or my preferred option is missing indicator. The missing indicator is that yellow M that you can flag on an individual assignment. So here we see that yellow M. To get to that, you just right-click and you would select Missing. By flagging the assignment missing and entering the score of 0, this student now receives no credit for that assignment. If I left that assignment empty and didn't put the 0, the gradebook does not count that as a 0. It counts it as an empty score, no score. So it's important, if you want that score to count against their grade because it's missing and it hasn't been graded, that you enter a 0. Additionally, by throwing the M, the flag on there for missing, it will show up on the parent portal and the student portal under missing work. Nice little yellow M shows up next to that assignment, and it lets them know that they haven't turned it in. So if we come back to reports here, I'm going to do the missing assignment report, and since I've flagged my missing assignments, I'm going to use the missing indicator. I'll again run it for the selected class, all enrolled, and here you do have to pick a date range. So if you are in a particular quarter, it is important that you come back and select the dates for that particular quarter so that it gets the appropriate assignments. If you leave the end date blank, it basically will go all the way to today. And so if I run that report, again, I will save it. So name that my missing assignment report, save it to my desktop. If I open that up, it will show only the missing assignments. Additionally, this report will only print for students who are missing work. If you have a student who has turned in all of their assignments, it doesn't print a report for them. And the very first time I was running this report, I was handing them out to my class, and I had some sad looks from the students when they didn't receive a piece of paper. I then realized it was a good thing because they didn't owe me any work. But be aware, it will only print for the students who need to give you an assignment. Below that, you can do a grade score sheet. That's sort of what we would think of as our traditional gradebook copy. So again, if we run that report, in this case I'll just open it so you can see. You get all the student names, you get their grades for each of the quarters, their average for the year, and then each individual assignment within that range of the dates that you have selected so far. So in this case, early on in the quarter, we've only had a few assignments so far. This is also useful as a backup if you would like to keep a paper copy around, or if you want to go and take some scores to a team meeting, you can print out your entire class this way. Again, if you have a mixed class, only some of the kids are on the team, and you really don't care about what's going on in the yellow team because blue team's the best, you can create a group, and you can then filter that group and only deal with those particular students. You would create that group again, add a group set, name it, and then you would just select the students you want. So that runs us through the basic daily reports that are useful for you in your classroom. If there's more that you'd like to know, certainly send me an email. And until next time, happy grading.